Now, David, this is a really exciting time for you in your career. You've got the reboot of your famous show where you're playing a wholesome dad, not a deadbeat dad.
You made a mistake.
I make lots of mistakes.
It's a part of growing up.
Also been nominated for a couple of awards. Talk to us about that. How do you feel in this moment?
Yeah, it was an honor to be nominated for the Television Critics Association Award. It's a really tough one to get for Outstanding Achievement in Family Programming. Like my whole kind of ethos and brand behind my company, which is Novo Inspire, means new in Latin. Our goal is to make entertaining and elevating content for the whole family. Things that, you know, if you have a bowl of soup and there's one fly in it, it ruins the whole thing, right? So we're trying to make delicious bowls of soup that is content with no flies in it. And to see that recognized from a huge secular organization is like a massive, massive honor. So I had this thesis that like families just are being underserved. They just want beautiful content that has no agenda, it's safe, it just is unitive and beautiful. And it's nice to see that that's working out, thanks be to God. So I'm really, really happy, yeah.
When you talk about the flies in the content, can there also be flies in the characters that you're asked to play?
Of course, yeah, of course. I mean, I've had to be very selective. You know, I'm married, I have 3 kids, and I want them to see things that I'll be proud of one day, that they'll look back and go, my dad made decisions that I respect and that I like. Now, there's nothing wrong with flawed characters. We're all flawed people, so you should tell powerful stories about flawed characters, but nothing that would offend the eyes of good people who are just wanting to have a good time and aren't looking to cover their kids' eyes in the middle of programming.
Yeah, that's certainly not what you would want to do. And I don't think as a network, we would be interested in a partnership with you if that was something that was part of your ethos. Let's talk about EWTN.
Yes.
And EWTN is part of your legacy in media, watching it growing up, understanding how it's kind of shifting and changing with the changing times in the media landscape.
I'm really excited. So I think we're at an interesting time in our culture. I think we're seeing families and faith communities have this huge demand for content. They're not being fed very much. But you have shows like The Chosen and House of David, wildly successful, really proving that there's an audience there that wants good stuff. And so it all goes back to distribution, though. If you don't have a distribution platform, if you think of me like a content creator, right? If I make something, if it's not being shown somewhere, then it's all for naught. So EWTN embracing the future and embracing the shifting landscape, especially where distribution is headed, is like music to my ears. The big issue is always for someone like me who primarily has worked in like secular spaces, but making virtuous content, is quality. So the quality bar that I'm used to is at a certain level. And a lot of people who were making faith content, the quality bar was very low. Christian content was almost associated with poor quality. And that's changing now. And that's exciting for someone like me because now I can do what I know I can do, and I can have a home like EWTN Plus who's going to make it at a content quality bar that I'm used to, and that, quite frankly, the subject matter deserves. You know, art used to be controlled by the church, paid for by the church, and the most beautiful stuff that exists, and it still is there to this day. The Caravaggio, Michelangelo, Carracci, Fra Angelico, their works are still there, and they're unbelievable. They're so beautiful, and they last to this day.
And they're recognized by secular and religious alike as quality, as top-notch, the best that you have to offer.
It fights on its own. It
That's
stands
right.
the test of time.
And that's certainly, I think, the pursuit of what Mother Angelica wanted to give to the world, is this idea that we would be a platform that serves up content that you can trust, content that you can have confidence in. So
Yes.
Let's talk about that content. Things and endeavors that you have brewing with EWTN. One of them is Seeking Beauty, right?
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, so I was a big fan. I love travel shows. I'm Italian, so I love the Stanley Tucci travel show, which is him eating food all over Italy. Anthony Bourdain might come to mind. There's a lot of great travel shows out there. And I was just like, man, I would love to do a travel show, but one where you kind of flip the script, where it starts with what you don't expect. What you expect on a EWTN Plus travel show is maybe like an expert who's like telling you all about, you know, the aesthetics of beauty and the history and how everything works, and that's just kind of boring and not very relevant these days. We want an experience, right? So we flip the format on its head. We have someone who's not an expert, which is me, inviting the audience to go on a journey with me and have fun. So we go all over Italy and we meet with the experts, and I'm sitting down asking questions that maybe you at home would want to ask if you were sitting in front of this person. And as I'm blown away, hopefully you'll be blown away too, because we had some beautiful experiences, you know? And the common theme was always that beauty is a capital B, that beauty is ultimately the language of the divine and a reflection of God. If you look at all the things that he's made, you know, it's like you see a beauty there. I look at my wife off screen right now who just got off a plane. I see the beauty there. And it's a reflection of God, you know?
Yeah.
So it was a great experience.
In making that content, content is supposed to obviously transform the audience, but it's also supposed to transform you.
Yes.
You've been on this journey of seeking God, seeking Him again, finding Him again as you develop content. How did Seeking Beauty create an experience for you personally that brought you closer to Christ?
It's a great question. You know, so as an artist, we acknowledge that we stand on the shoulders of giants. So to go actually get close to the giants that like started it all, the artists of the Renaissance, the architects, and even those before them in like Byzantine traditions, that was so touching to me. There was one moment where we got to visit people who restore these old paintings, because you know there's like this varnish on it. Might be the right term or not, but there's a layer that develops in the outside of old paintings, and to restore them back to their former beauty, someone's got to go in with like a cotton tip, and some of these things are bigger than this whole studio setup, right? They got to go in with a little cotton tip and special solutions and gently rub away what's developed on top of the painting. So I got to see like these old masterwork paintings and the people who restore them, and I got to look closely at the paint brushes of a Caravaggio, little strokes and things, and they'd show me, hey, you can see a mistake right here. You can see where he tried something and he did something else. So it was a humanizing thing, because like when you think of great artists before you, they're almost so high that it's like unreachable, that like you're there, you'll never get there, you know? And to get to see their works up close with a restorer was so cool to go, oh, this person was human.
So
He completely painted over what he did. There was something he tried that didn't work at all. That was really cool to me, to learn how human these artists were, and that they were struggling with the same things that I struggle with, just in a different medium.
Your, relationship with Christ obviously comes through very easily. You
Oh, thank
are
you.
on fire about the faith. You talk about it with great, genuine interest in furthering your walk.
Yep.
What sustains that? Is there something particular, a devotion, your prayer life? Obviously, your marriage. You can't say your marriage because that's what's going to get you to heaven.
That is the,
but
yes,
that's the pinnacle there for you.
That's the foundation. You know, for me, it was like, I just think, I always had a desire for excellence and for greatness. And before I was Catholic, though, it just didn't have a path. It didn't have direction. It was just kind of a spread, and things would fizzle out, and my end was very material. And once I became Catholic, suddenly there's direction. It's going to be hard. You might fall. You can get back up. But suddenly there's direction. So these desires that I naturally had to want to be excellent in my life suddenly had a way to articulate and had a path. And that excitement is what keeps me going. And it comes with structure, like daily meditation, daily rosary. If you can get to daily mass, great. It's a lot harder when you have 3 little rugrats running around. But my wife's great about taking the kids. But you know, the church is, because I consider myself a convert, I just fell in love with all the elements the church has to feed us. And there's so many elements to feed us. All the sacraments, the different forms of grace. We have so many weapons at our disposal that, to me, I'm just like, if I'm not doing stuff every day, I'm not sharpening my soul, and I'm not growing. You know, the church is like an elevator. You're either going up or down. And it's exciting to me, and it's a wonderful challenge to be headed on this path.
Is there a particular spirituality that resonates with you? I'm big on Elijah. I'm all about that
that's
Carmelite
awesome.
Understanding, the consuming fire.
To me, the Carmelite spirituality I absolutely love. My daily meditation for many years has been Divine Intimacy, which is a wonderful book of Carmelite spirituality and Carmelite saints that goes along with the liturgical year. I love that. When I first converted, St. Teresa of Avila was like one of the first books that I read, Way of Perfection and Interior Castle. So I just love her way of looking at things, and obviously St. John on the Cross. Carmelite spirituality is most on my heart.
I feel like it's very artistic, so which
Okay,
is
that's
another
probably
that's
good,
another
yeah.
there's a little bit there in terms of its thinking and its feeling.
Yes.
Would you say that your conversion was intellectual or a conversion of the heart?
It was purely intellectual. I had exhausted the emotions. Like, I came from the crazy Hollywood world, living kind of a crazy life, whole another story for another time. But I was kind of exhausted. I was kind of like, nothing's doing it for me. Nothing's doing it for me. I had this desire for something. My heart was restless, and nothing was doing it for me. And so I needed someone to speak to my soul. So I consider that intellectual. Like someone needed to speak into my soul to give me direction. And it was through philosophical debate with a friend that I admitted there's a God, and that God has a relation with humanity and that he cares, and then understood the doctrine of the fall and the need for a savior. And so it was an exercise, intellectual exercise, but that was the food that my soul needed to help me get to where I needed to go.
What would you say to those who are seeking God, who can't accept that he loves them, which seems to be the ill of society? How did you
Yeah.
finally accept that God wanted to be yours and in your heart and intimate with you?
You know, a lot of times people that don't accept God, and I certainly related to this, there's a problem in how you were raised or in the dynamic of the household, or you associate one of your parents' bad attributes with God. And I think once you realize that God is the best in your parents and none of the worst, and he's the best times 1,000, that he's his own being who has that relationship with you, that can jump those barriers that you have that might prevent that love. And it just takes a surrender. It takes a complete surrender. I mean, I changed my life when that happened. Like I was dating someone that ended, thanks be to God, and my wife's gone. And you know, that was a big part of it.
How many years have you guys been married?
8 years, 10 together.
8 years,
Yeah.
10 together. Well,
Yeah.
congratulations on that decade of walking together.
Thank you very much.
I wish you many, many more.
Thank you.
So
This is a
much
great
for it.
interview. Thank you very
Of
much.
course.
Thank you.